Hey, what's up? Easy here. If you guys don't know, WildStar went free to play about a month ago, and I've been playing it on and off for about 2 weeks. I think I'm level 10, which is like super casual mode, but I'm multi-boxing 5 accounts, so I had to rewrite the script for it and learn a bunch of stuff um, that would be way different from what you would have to learn if you were just playing one account. But I'm going to talk more about that towards the end of the video. As far as why I'm playing it, it's just because, I mean, most of you know, like big WoW fan, hardcore WoW player, WoW just doesn't have anything to offer me right now. I mean, it's just, I am so bored when I log in. I'm so bored when I log in that I don't even log in anymore. I literally log in like once every 2 weeks. And when I do that, I sit in my garrison and talk shit and trade and looking for group for like half an hour and then I log out. WoW is dry right now. It's so dry that Helen Thomas saw patch 6.2 and she said that makes me dry. And if you know Helen Thomas, you know it takes quite a bit to make that lady dry. So if you're like me and Helen Thomas and you need something to moisten you up, maybe WildStar is what you need. But seriously, I don't really know shit about this game, right? I'm level 10, what can I tell you? I'm level 10, okay? But the things that I have noticed that I do like is the loot system, or the tagging system, I should say. It's like Rift, it's like no tagging. If someone's killing a quest mob, and you need that quest mob, you just go tag it, and you get credit for it. You get loot for it, you get XP for it, So, that's how MMO should be. You should be rewarded for team effort. It doesn't matter if you're in a party or not. It also has this badass combo system where if you chain a bunch of kills together, it'll say like double kill, triple kill, super kill, mega kill, epic kill, and I don't know how high it goes, but I think it's pretty awesome. It's got it puts a little thing on the screen and it announces it, and that's another thing is this game's got a ton of voiceover, like it's constantly talking to you. It's got a bunch of cutscenes as well. I've seen probably 10 cutscenes in 10 levels. So like every time you go to a new zone or you complete like a major section of the quest line, you'll get a cutscene. And the dungeons that I went in, there was the one that I actually cleared. I think there was like 3 cutscenes in the one that I cleared. There's one at the beginning, then one kind of in the middle, and one at the end. Alright, let's talk about the multi-boxing for a second. So, the game is multi-box friendly. The developers are okay with it. They're not going to ban you for it. You don't have to hide in dungeons and grind dungeons to get your levels. You can be out in the public. You can show off your characters. It's all good. As far as the game being actually friendly, as far as like functionality, macros and stuff, it's about average, I guess I'd say, compared to the other stuff that I've played that I could multi-box, which is probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 games. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not a connoisseur of multi-boxing titles, since you can probably multi-box thousands of different games. But I've done WoW and done Rift, which are 2 of like the big name games, and I've actually made guides for both of them. So I have a decent grasp on what I would consider, what works good and what doesn't. One of the main things I noticed in this game was the very first dungeon that I did. I think I hit level 10 and I found this dungeon, and this boss, it's got a shield and you have to use your interrupt to break the shield, and the shield has like stacks, so you have to use your interrupt on like all your characters. So it's got like 4 stacks of the shield. It means that like 4 characters have to interrupt to break the shield, and then you can like damage him for a short period of time, and then he shields back up, knocks you back, and like roots you, and you gotta shoot the roots to break them so you can actually get close enough to interrupt again. Well, one of the times when he knocks you back, he actually disarms you. He throws your weapon down, like scatters him out around him. Well, as like an individual player, you would just go to the one that's like glowing or has the arrow or whatever, because that one's yours. Well, when you're multi-boxing, you're dragging 4 characters around, so you gotta do a big loop with them, and the interrupt that you need to get off is time sensitive. So like if you mess up and like miss one or something and you need to go back, you probably are gonna wipe. So that really wasn't very promising as far as you know, what to expect from other dungeons, since that was, like I said, the very first boss of the very first dungeon, and there was no trash, so it was literally like the very first mob that I saw in the very first dungeon. But I still managed, so I mean, maybe I was just expecting, like my expectations were too high as far as me expecting face roll content. To just, you know, stand in one place and mash buttons and be invincible. So, I mean, maybe it's a good thing. I don't really know yet. I've only seen 2 dungeons. I can say that the next boss after the one that I was just referring to, there were like these red fire things like going back and forth on the ground, and you're supposed to sprint through them, and I didn't have my script set up to use like shift as a non-modifier key, so I drag them all through the fire and kill half of them, and then, you know, you got to interrupt with 4 characters, and 2 are dead, and you only got 5. You do the math, I was pretty much screwed. So I realized on that real quick. I was like, oh, I need to adjust the script a little bit and fix some things, but I haven't went back to try it since. And then there's like some issues as well as the windows can't be sized down below like a certain resolution. So if you are expecting to play 5 accounts on one screen, the windows are going to be all like weird and like overlapped. You can't scale them down small enough to where they're all symmetrical. And I don't know for sure if that would interfere with the broadcasting your clicks to the windows to pick up quests and do certain things where you need to click. But for me personally, it was just an eyesore, so I rewrote the script to shift them all over to the second monitor. So got 4 accounts on the second monitor on a full, you know, 24-inch monitor, and then my main window on the other 24-inch monitor. And that's what I highly recommend if you plan on doing 5 accounts. But even before that, you need a really strong computer to do 5 accounts at a fluid frame rate. And last but probably most important, for any number of accounts, like if you wanted to do just 2 accounts or something, like it's really important to have a macro keyboard, mouse, or gamepad, like where you have software to where you can reprogram the keys, what they do, and make multi-keys and make like macro keys. So for example, the in-game macro system is not as friendly as like Rift or WoW, using those 2 as examples. So on either one of those games you can do like / target and then your main guy and then / follow. So you just hit that key and then you target your guy, follow, all in the same thing, and it always works. It's always flawless. Well, in this game there actually isn't a / target function without an add-on. You can get an add-on to add the / target function, but it's kind of pointless because you can't put 2 / commands inside of one macro. So you do that and then it just ignores the / follow and it doesn't even work anyway. So then you would potentially need 2 macros, one to target, one to follow, and then you need 2 keybinds, which means you have to hit 2 keys every time you want to follow, which is just ridiculous. So what I did as a workaround, the group leader is always like the top person in your party. So if your main guy's the group leader, F2 will target the first person in your party. And then I used, of course, the macro, the gamepad software, to where it hit F2 and then it hit the keybind for the / follow macro all in one key, which was like Control 9 or something. And it does it with a delay, because there is a delay from the time you hit F2, from the time it gets broadcasted to all the accounts, from the time it registers in the game and actually targets that person, and then you can hit Control 9 or, you know, whatever you have it bound to follow. So you need that delay in there. It can't just be all instantaneous. So then what I did is, obviously on my main account, since the keybinds are account individuals, like some of the settings are saved, like the graphics settings are like global, and then the keybinds and stuff are per account. So I went into the main account and then unbound F2. That way F2 does nothing on the main account. That way I'm not targeting the first person in the party from the main account, which would not be myself. which, you know, if you did that, it would just make your dudes kind of do like a circle. The one would try to follow the other, and then the 4 were trying to follow that one, and then they would just like do a loop or just run towards each other. Anyway, it'd mess you up if you're like trying to run and then just tap it thinking you're gonna follow. One good thing about the follow function on this game is like I don't really know if it's got like a distance thing. Like it's got a distance to where like you have to be loaded up in like draw distance, which is like 100 yards or something crazy. So like you can follow from a ridiculous distance, unlike WoW or Rift where you got to be really close to do it. So if you lose one of your guys and then like you realize that you can hit that key, and they'll start running towards you if you're within like a massive radius. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up this video. If you want to see something specific to like WildStar and multiboxing, I was thinking about making some just like me questing videos. I mean, they're obviously not going to be too exciting. Like I'm just going to be like questing and stuff. But I plan on doing maybe like a couple of those, just because there's like absolutely no multi-box like WildStar content on YouTube. So I'm gonna put a little bit out there, so people that are wondering, can you multi-box WildStar? Because whenever I was trying to like do a little bit of research about it, I was like, wow, there's like no videos for it. This game probably can't be multi-boxed, you know, and it's really not that bad. I mean, it's not as good as some games, but it's not that bad. So I'm gonna put a couple of those out there. If you guys want to see something specific, I'm gonna do some like some dungeon stuff as well, and then eventually I will make a guide for this, how to do it, and I'll upload my script to where you'll have my script, and I'll show you what you need to change to put in your email and your passwords through all the lines that you need to where it will auto log in for you, and a couple other little tweaks as far as like if your resolution's different or something. I'll explain all that in the guide, but I'm not making the guide until I stop changing things every time that I log into the game. Like I'm always making like little tweaks and stuff because I'm still really new to the game and I don't know what I need in the script and what I, you know, change stuff in like my my macro binds on my gamepad. So whenever I kind of like plateau as far as, you know, not changing stuff anymore, I'll worry about a guide at that point. But yeah, if you guys want to see something specific, post it down in the comments. Doesn't even have to be WildStar. If you guys want to see something to do with WoW, I do have a post-it note here to make my an add-on video to briefly go over all the add-ons I got in WoW. I know at least like 5 people have asked me for that in the last like 2 or 3 months, and I apologize, but just hasn't been something that I really wanted to do. But I will do it. I will do it. I am listening. I didn't ignore you guys. I'm just, I'm lazy. Forgive me. So yeah, that's all I got. See you on the next one.